and the front yard that is insufficient as well. The work that is going to be done is level 1 alteration and a change of occupancy. The existing non-conformities that will not be increased. The side yard are conforming, and the percentage of the gross floor area of the building with respect to the lot is also conforming, and so is the open space. So as you can see from that side plan that you have in front of you now, the rear yard is about 3 and 4 feet on that section. It doesn't meet the requirement. Now, the front yard is about 4 feet and 6 inches on Chatham Street. This is a corner lot, and it has 14 feet 3 inches on Sanderson Avenue. The proposed work, the building, it would practically not going to change on the exterior. The only exterior alteration that is not going to be visible from the public way is a rear dormer on that area. If you go to the previous slide, there is an area indicated towards the left corner of the building that shows the area of the work. That would be a shed dormer that is going to be facing the rear property line, and that is necessary in order to accommodate the headroom for the stairs for that particular unit. So from the plans, you can see that essentially the 2 units the apartments are set up in a way that it was very easy to divide them into 3 units. Just by creating that new stair, replacing actually a semicircular stair with a conventional stair, and by putting a partition at that area. So essentially you have a bi-level 3 units side by side. And the high space, we needed that dormer in order to increase the headroom in order to accommodate the stairs and make it functional and code compliant. So with respect to the relief requested, in reality, the building will remain as it is. The non-conformities will not be increased. And the only relief that we're seeking for is from section 7.4, which is a building that is non-conforming cannot be altered unless with permission from the zoning board of appeals.
I was having some trouble understanding you, but I got most of your audio was a little jarbled. But my question was is the parking now? You're looking for a parking variance too? Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. We have she has a driveway on the Sanderson Avenue side, which can fit 1 car, and she has a driveway on Chatham Street as well, which can fit about 2 cars tandem. Now, the requirement is 1.5 spaces per unit. So if you take in consideration the existing units, adequate parking is existing for those units, the additional unit will not be provided with additional parking since there's no space to put it. Yet there is ample parking on the street. Since this is a corner lot, you have parking on Sanderson Avenue on a street parking, and as well as Chatham Street. So that should not have an impact. Correct. That's the Sanderson driveway, which fits a car. And on Chatham Street, there is a driveway as well, which can fit about 2 compact cars. Considering the amount of off-street parking, as you can see on this Google map, I don't think that should have any impact on the parking situation in the area.
So I would need to see a legal drawing from a land surveyor that would show how many actual parking spaces you have. To me, it looks like the picture that I'm seeing right now on the screen when that car there on the left is not a legal parking space, nor is the one on Sanderson Avenue.
That's not their property, I don't think, is it?
I didn't think it was either.
Their property's on Chatham.
Yeah, so there's only one space, and it's not even a legal space because it doesn't have a setback. It's not the legal dimension for a parking space. So I mean,
Mr. Chairman,
what's that?
Mr. Chairman, can I make
Yes, please.
I add something to the parking?
Yeah.
The petitioner was supposed to have a certified parking plan made up by a professional land surveyor. I don't see that parking plan. Where is that?
Mr. Santana or?
Yes, again, the parking that you see right now, the property, is existing parking. And you are correct. Just like the lot area that doesn't conform, the curb on the sidewalk is existing. So that leads me to believe that although that parking does not conform to dimensional requirements, it appears to be a legal curb cut on the sidewalk on both sides, on Chatham Street and Sanderson Avenue. Now, you are correct, Mr. Wood, that the parking does not appear to meet the dimensional requirements, but it's existing parking. This is the parking we are proposing.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I do have a quick question.
Yes.
The parking that's tandem on the Chatham Street side, does that belong to you guys or not? I think that was a question that came up because it appears to be that it's not. Yeah, that area, correct. Does it belong to this property?
There are from the wall of the building on that side to the property line, there is 12 feet. That's the distance according to the architectural site plan that we produced. So my assumption is that the parking as shown is contained on the property for 69 Chatham Street, 67, 69 Chatham.
That's not what he's asking. He's asking if these two spots that are shown in the picture that's on your screen, does that belong to you or does that belong to the neighbor?
My understanding is that belong to Mr. Ojo. Mrs. Ojo.
All right. So in order to validate this, we'll need a plot plan showing the parking, the entire parking. We can't just assume. Because based on what it's looking like right now, it doesn't seem to be a parking for this address.
May I, Mr. Chairman, may I didn't mean to interrupt you. Were you done, Flory?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I travel this street a lot. My son used to live in Swampscott, and I live in Lynn, and this used to be my cut-through street. And I am not the only one who uses it as a cut-through street, so that I don't have to travel on the main road, particularly in the summer when you don't want to hit the beach traffic. So when you're coming down Sanderson from Swampscott, you do a quick right here, and then you do a quick left on Baltimore. People do it 1,000 times a day, I would bet you. It's a very dangerous intersection. I don't know what time of day they took these pictures, but I have never seen this street so empty of parking, ever. It's usually jammed with parking, with kids playing all over, and there's a preschool just as the street ends. I believe there's a little preschool, and I just think it would be not a safe thing, in my opinion, to add another family and their parking requirements to this project.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you, Mr. Chairman, what's the hardship? Yeah, where does the petition prove a hardship that the board could look favorably at it? I don't see any hardship there.
Do you have any response, Mr. Santana?
Yes, Ms. Ojo has a family coming from Africa. Her son is living with her right now, and he's moving out. And she doesn't want to be alone and just have tenants on this house. And for that reason, She wants to provide additional unit from her family coming from her home country. That's one of the reasons that she wants to add this unit. And if I may add to the parking, if you please allow me one more time, we would be more than happy to provide a survey indicating the existing parking. I just want to convey to the board that with all due respect, that the parking shown on these Google Maps, we are not seeking permission for it. They are existing as they are, and I do agree with the board, they do not meet the dimensional requirements. Although a research can be done, my assumption is that they definitely will don't legally because the curb cut exists on the sidewalk. Now, the only relief that we are seeking is for the additional unit and additional spaces required from that unit, which is 1.5. So the existing parking, although the way that is shown and designed, it doesn't meet the dimensional requirements, is existing. And only for that additional unit is additional parking that we're looking for. So we're really not looking to put 5 cars on the street. We are seeking relief for one additional vehicle for that additional dwelling unit.
May I say something, Chairman?
Yes, Jean.
Well, the one parking spot you seem to think you have, you don't have because that car's hanging over the sidewalk. That isn't even legal. And even if you think you have 2 parking spaces around the other side, you still don't have enough parking. Period.
I agree. We do not have enough parking for the third unit. That is correct. And those parking spaces exist and they don't meet the requirements. I would not argue that. That is a fact.
Well, if you don't come up with a legal document with legal parking spaces, I'm not voting for this. I'll tell you now.
No, it's practical. I understand. I understand your concern. The only problem with that is on a lot of 4,000, just like over 4,000 square feet with this topography. As you can see, that the house is elevated above the sidewalk by about 3.5, 4 feet. It would be practically impossible to provide additional parking. Actually, if we do that, that will become more detrimental and dangerous to the area because those cars park in tandem. If we extend either of those driveways, and that we do not have the space in order to do that, well, let's say for the sake of argument that we could do that, the only way that we could put in spaces would be on the front yard, which is really inadequate, and I believe not permitted by the code. And then if we extend the driveway towards the rear of the property, having 3-4 vehicles standing will pose a hazard when they're backing up into either one of those streets, especially the Chatham Street side, which is, as Ms. Kraut mentioned, is a pretty busy street. So I would argue in favor of not providing additional parking than creating a hazardous situation by adding 5 spaces into a lot that is quite small.
Mr. Santana.
This is a basement apartment. Is this a basement apartment?
No, ma'am. All the apartments, the basement is used only for storage for all 3 units. And these apartments are side by side, by level.
So this is a basement apartment, so
No,
they're really going to be living in the cellar next to the heating.
Oh, no. It's not a basement apartment. I apologize. The basement is only used for storage, as you can see on this plan on the left-hand side, upper corner.
It's not a basement apartment, Gene. It's going to be the whole front section of the house. But
Not a basement apartment?
yeah.
Did you say it's not?
It's
not. It's not a basement apartment.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Yes.
I did. Thank you.
Mr. Santana. So
Yes.
Just a few thoughts on your case, and the parking situation. From what I can see, you do not have one legal parking space. Maybe one on the Chatham Street side, but even that didn't look like it had the setbacks. You're supposed to be 5 feet from the house and 5 feet from the property line. And so, I mean, there's certainly not 2. But the point is that you need 5. And historically, this board, at least in the 12 years I've been on it, we are, we don't like to increase the size of a property. We don't like to turn a 2 into a 3 unless there's sufficient space there, especially in a neighborhood like this, where, as Member Crowitz just said, it's a very dense neighborhood, a very busy neighborhood, and so it's very unlikely that any extra plans that you put together, I would not want to see you go and get that legal plan from a surveyor, spend that money, and I just don't see a positive outcome for this case. You know, I can feel for the petitioner. She wants to put her family there. That's not really a hardship. That's something that she would just like to have. A hardship needs to be a financial hardship. So, I mean, you can take your chances if you want to, and you know, get a surveyor to you know, spend that money. But you're going to have, I think you're going to have 0, maybe 1 parking space, and it's just we feel a responsibility to the neighborhoods not to increase the density, and so you know, this just doesn't look like a positive outcome for you. So, just having said that, I want to open up the hearing to anyone else that wants to speak in favor of this petition. Pedro, do you have that number you could post for anyone that wants to call in favor?
They can call any of these numbers here. Okay. This is to get into the meeting, the ID number, and if you need a passcode, use this passcode. These are all the numbers that you can use to call with Zoom.
Pedro was mentioning he might be able to post it right on the.
Pedro, would you post it? He just said yes.
No, okay. Okay, that works. So the hearing's now open for anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of the petition. We'll wait a few minutes. Mr. Santana, if you have anything you want to add,
I would like to add, sorry. I would like to add that you're correct, Mr. Wood. I mean, spending resources that my client doesn't have in order to engage a survey company, I don't think it's going to help, because the problem with that is that creating additional spaces on this lot is practically impossible. And so whether we have survey or not, I don't think that's going to solve the problem. I don't want to go back to you and with the survey that is going to show pretty much what is in front of you, because we will not be able to add additional parking. Now, that being said, and you mentioned hardship, generally the board, in what has been my experience, financial hardship is something that the board may or may not take in consideration. So the type of hardship that my client has presented as a growing family, I think is significant. Another thing that I think is the reason why I think the board should rule in granting these variances is because, and I understand your concern if this was only on Chatham Street, but having a corner lot, that poses I think a great advantage for the parking situation, because although Chatham Street is a very busy street, Centerson is not, and therefore that additional space that may be required for that additional family can really be entertained on the street. Now, what we could definitely do is, if it dissatisfied you, we can engage the surveyor to see how can we improve the existing parking, and then present an option to you. But we will definitely not end up with 5 spaces if we do that. I just want to make sure that you understand that, because it would be misleading if I tell you that I will present a survey that is going to show 3 or 4 spaces. But we definitely can look into it and see if the existing space could be improved. And if it is, we can produce a survey and present it to you again at a subsequent hearing. If you give us the opportunity, I just want to be clear that there will never be no parking for this development.
Yeah, and I don't see if you don't have the 5, even if you had 5 parking spaces, it would be a big lift for us. I believe, you know, I can't speak for my fellow members, but I don't think that there's a high hope that you're never going to get the 5 parking spaces on there. So it's up to you. If you want to request a continuance and you want to get that, we'll put that question to the board and see if we can get that approval. But so if anyone else at this time has anything.
I just have one quick question, Mr. Wood.
Sure.
To the engineer, whether he can remove the berm and level that the retaining wall. Is that doable?
I still don't think they'll create enough space. You need setbacks 5 feet from the building and 5 feet from the property line.
I think he's saying if you remove the berm, you could use some of the land.
Yeah, but I don't think there's enough. Well, yeah. Go ahead. I guess you'll have to have a surveyor draw that, certified surveyor draw that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the building takes up most of the land that's there. There isn't one legal parking space, and you never have one. This is overcrowding, a typical case of overcrowding in the area. It's not fair to the neighborhood or to the city of Lynn.
That's how I feel, but so let's just continue with the hearing now. So the hearing has been open for a while for anyone else that wants to speak in favor of the petition. I'm not hearing anyone else calling in favor of the petition. So in light of that, I'm going to close the hearing to those in favor and open the hearing for those in opposition. I do have one comment here in opposition. Where's that chat? There was a chat comment. Gloria. I mean, son, if you switch screens, will I see the chat? Oh, there it is, the chat. Yeah, chat down there. This was from Galaxy S8 to everyone. The comment is both Sanderson and Chatham Street are packed outside of working hours. So that's a comment in opposition. Thank you, Galaxy S8, for that, your participation. And so the hearing is still open for anyone that wants to speak in opposition. We'll hold on for a couple more minutes, and then we'll see what the wishes of the board are.
Chairman Wood.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that the way that these plot plans were presented made it really difficult to read because they were embedded in the PowerPoint. Can't really read the dimensions. You have to squint, and yeah.
I appreciate that. For me, I didn't have to go much further than the lack of parking problem and the increase of congestion for the neighborhood, but that is a very good point. So we're still holding out for anyone else that wants to speak in opposition. We'll wait another minute.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Okay. Hearing no one else wishing to speak in opposition, I'll close the hearing for anyone in opposition. What is the wish of the board? We have a
motion to deny.
I second.
Jean seconds that.
Okay. We have a motion to deny from Mr. Callahan, seconded by Mrs. Curley. Jean, Mary, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, let me just see who's on this case. I think
It's John and
Mr. Wooten. Yep.
yeah.
Okay, Mr. Smith to deny.
Yes to deny.
Mr. Wooten to deny.
Yes to deny.
Mrs. Curley to deny.
Yes to deny.
Mr. Callahan to deny.
Yes to deny.
Mr. Wood to deny.
Yes to deny. Okay. Has been denied. And so that concludes our business tonight. If anyone else has a comment or any thoughts, then I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
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 Aye, Jean said.
Thanks, Mrs. Santana, for your efforts tonight. I'm sorry it didn't go your way. Good luck with the project over there with the house. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you all.
So, the other side of the mural festival, it feels great now that we've had time to recover.
Really tested all of our leadership skills, and just it was really difficult organizing something of this scale.
You know, logistically it's challenging because you've got 20 artists in town putting up 15 walls in 10 days. You got to get all the lifts here, you've got to get everything fueled up, you've got to make sure that the artists get trained and certified in lift operation. They're also involved in some of the events that we had going on. But ultimately, I think it went, as smooth as something can go when you've got that many artists together and doing buildings of this scale. But yeah, it was really an incredible experience.
Just came downtown to check out the art.
And what do you think? I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about time.
It changes the whole feel of downtown.
The walls have produced a contagious caring down in the downtown area.
And people just come and pouring out, being like, yo, what's that? Talking, mad conversation.
The best things about doing outdoor public art is that it is accessible.
I feel like I haven't seen that many people out in downtown Lynn like ever.
This project really brings people out into the street.
It was great to see people, young and old, different people from all over the city of Lynn coming down.
People see you, they talk to you, they share information about the town. I got the best history lesson that I could have ever gotten.
It's people of all ages coming out to see something new. They've been so excited, and that makes me really happy to be here.
It's awesome. Everybody's been really cool, like driving by, honking horns, and like saying, great job.
We're definitely getting the support of the community. We're definitely getting the support of the community.
You know, just people, when people see art like this, they just come out of the woodwork, and maybe it's inspiring them, maybe inspiring the younger kids.
It was one of the most exciting times, I think, in the city. You could feel the excitement building throughout the week.
I think these murals are some of the coolest things that have happened.
The murals have brought some sort of brightness.
I've never seen so many people be like this excited about Lynn. Because I was seeing people happy that I haven't seen smile my whole life.
I've lived here all my life, and you know, I think it's a great city. I think the artwork is definitely a huge plus. Huge plus.
When you talk about Lynn now, people talk about the murals, about the art.
Like, people are definitely going outside the city bragging. Like, we got these crazy murals, like, you should come and see it.
You know, it's obviously good for the community if people are coming out like that, you know?
Inside the city of Lynn, people really taking a look at what the murals are about, but I think more importantly, taking a look at what Lynn's about.
I even noticed that a lot of people are talking about Lynn, and not in a bad way like they used to talk about it.
Transform a whole community with a canvas break.
We got tons of positive coverage on Lynn. So a big part of our focus was trying to change that narrative, that perception on Lynn that we don't think is really at all deserved.
More people visiting, even from the city, going into the downtown to see the murals. It really started to change the perception in people's minds of what downtown is.
I feel like the murals are just a first step in the direction of reestablishing the greatness that is Lynn, Massachusetts.
I feel like these murals give the people of Lynn pride. people can kind of claim it for themselves now. People of the city, like when the artists were here, it was like, oh, like that's their mural. But now, like they're gone and like they left it for us. You know what I mean? So it's the cities, and I feel like everyone just feels like they can be like, yeah, that's mine. That's from my home.
It's really about the people in the community.
All in all, I think the tide raised all boats. And it's something that with this team, we think we can continue to do great work here in Lynn.
Well, I think that there is now a responsibility.
La dosis y te ponen la Pfizer y la Moderna. La Johnson & Johnson 2 semanas después con una única dosis. Entonces tenemos que estar muy puntuales de qué nos estamos poniendo para sentirnos más seguros. ¿Qué podemos hacer? ¿Qué actividades podemos realizar con tranquilidad después de que estemos protegidos? Segunda dosis 2 semanas después. No todo el tiempo, por favor. Es demasiado.
Bueno, Carolina, yo personalmente puedo decir que algo que me trajo mucha paz para mí fue luego de que mi familia entera fue vacunada, mis padres que son mayores y mi abuela que acaba de cumplir 97 años en enero. Luego de que todos estuvimos vacunados, ya por fin me sentí en la confianza de estar juntos, cercanos, compartiendo sin necesitar mascarilla. Es decir, ya cuando estés rodeado con otras personas que estén completamente vacunados y que tengan su sistema de defensas bien montadas, ya pues uno está más tranquilo, ¿no? No tiene que andar con tanta preocupación. Y también las actividades a aire libre también ya se vuelven más seguras.
Ok. Entonces, ¿ya podemos reunirnos con otra gente vacunada sin la mascarilla o todavía con mascarilla? ¿Cómo se maneja este cuento de la mascarilla? ¿Qué nos recomiendan ustedes?
Bueno, si me permiten hablar, algo que hay que pensar siempre con este virus es que hasta ahora se sabe que la protección es muy buena, pero siempre hay que pensar, si a mí me llega a dar esto, ¿quién está a mi alrededor? Tengo familiares con enfermedades que los ponen a mayor riesgo. Entonces, como dijo Caroline, si yo estoy con otras personas que están completamente vacunadas y ya han pasado el tiempo necesario para tener esas defensas, podemos reunirnos con estas personas por fuera, por dentro. Cuando ya vamos a incluir otras personas a esta burbuja, a este grupo, ahí puede que sea algo diferente si otras personas no están vacunadas. Se considera que eventos por fuera, con estas personas dentro de mi burbuja, todas vacunadas, se pueden hacer sin máscara. Ya una vez estamos por dentro, en un restaurante, en un concierto, en un teatro, como no se sabe cómo es la vacunación de los demás, aún se continúa y se recomienda usar el tapabocas. Okay. Y como la doctora Reyes explicó, las vacunas tienen alrededor de 95% de efectividad. Son muy buenas, pero no son al 100%. Okay. Y hay personas que se confían y si tienen un sistema de defensas que está bajito, puede que no tengan un nivel muy alto de protección. Entonces, hay que pensar eso cuando uno va a hacer actividades. De pronto, ir a un restaurante a puerta cerrada con muchas personas cerca no es lo mejor si yo no estoy completamente vacunado. Pero aún si estoy completamente vacunado, hay que pensar cuál sería mi riesgo. ¿Okay?
Esa era la segunda pregunta que yo tenía. Si estábamos con alguien que estuviera, si uno está vacunado, pero hay gente alrededor que no lo está, todavía entonces se debe preservar las medidas de salubridad, que son 6 pies de distancia, la mascarilla, sí, y tratar de mantener la limpieza en las manos, ¿correcto?
Sí. Claro, y hay que entender que todo eso está cambiando de acuerdo con la información que nos den y las guías del Centro de Infectología a nivel de la nación. Si estamos viendo más problemas con variantes o casos fuera de control, puede que se cambie, pero